Well, folks, it finally happened. Remember that economic train wreck everyone was worried about? The one experts predicted if certain policies went unchecked? Yeah, that's not theoretical anymore. It's our reality. Buckle up, America, because we're going for a bumpy ride through the wreckage of the Trump 2025 economy. And let me be clear, this isn't going to be a gentle stroll through the park. This is a full-on, no-holds-barred autopsy of how we got here. We're talking about the border walls sucking up more money than a Vegas casino, trade wars that make everyone lose, and an energy policy seemingly designed by a bunch of dinosaurs. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. So grab your hard hats and your antacids. Things are about to get ugly, Let's start with the poster child for Trump's economic mismanagement. The glorious border wall. Remember all those promises? It was going to be big, beautiful, and Mexico was going to pay for it. Well, surprise, surprise, none of that happened. Instead, taxpayers are on the hook for billions. And the only thing getting bigger are the budget deficits. We're talking about money that could have gone to schools, hospitals, or even fixing those potholes you keep complaining about. And don't even get me started on the impact on local economies. Turns out building a giant wall through the desert isn't exactly a recipe for economic prosperity. Who knew, White? Remember when Trump said trade wars were easy to win? Yeah, someone should have taken away his Twitter account then and there, because what we've got now is a full-blown trade war with China. And guess what? We're not winning. Tariffs are up, prices are soaring, and American businesses are hurting. Farmers can't sell their soybeans, manufacturers are struggling to compete, and that new TV you've been eyeing? Yeah, it just got a whole lot more expensive. And for what? A few empty promises and a whole lot of economic pain, huh? Energy policy back to the dark ages. Literally, remember when America was leading the way in renewable energy? Yeah, those were the good old days. Because under Trump's watch, we've gone full steam ahead, pun intended, back to the fossil fuel era. Renewable energy incentives? Gone. Environmental regulations? Slashed. Support for clean energy jobs? Nowhere to be seen. Instead, we're doubling down on coal and oil, even though everyone knows that's about as sustainable as a chocolate teapot. And guess who gets left holding the bag? That's right, the American people, who are stuck with dirtier air, a hotter planet, and fewer job opportunities in the industries of the future. Tax cuts 2.0 robbing Peter to pay Paul, mostly Paul. Remember those massive tax cuts Trump pushed through a few years back, the ones that were supposed to trickle down and benefit everyone? Yeah, about that. Turns out most of the benefits went to the wealthiest Americans and corporations, while the rest of us are left picking up the tab. The federal deficit is ballooning, and vital programs like education, healthcare, and infrastructure are facing devastating cuts. It's the same old story. The rich get richer, and everyone else is left fighting over the scraps. Healthcare survival of the richest. And speaking of vital programs facing cuts, let's talk about healthcare. Remember the Affordable Care Act? The one that expanded coverage to millions of Americans? Yeah, Trump's been trying to dismantle that since day one. He hasn't succeeded completely, but he's done enough damage to send healthcare costs soaring and millions of Americans back into the ranks of the uninsured. It's a cruel and heartless policy that puts profits ahead of people, and it's having a devastating impact on families across the country. America in decline, the price of failed policies. So there you have it, folks, the Trump 2025 economy in all its glory. A toxic cocktail of failed policies, broken promises, and blatant disregard for the well-being of ordinary Americans. The numbers don't lie. GDP growth is stagnant, unemployment is rising, and the stock market is about as stable as a unicycle on a tightrope. America's global standing is plummeting, and our reputation as a reliable economic partner is in tatters. The saddest part? This was entirely avoidable. This wasn't some unforeseen natural disaster. This was a man-made catastrophe fueled by ideology, incompetence, and a healthy dose of good old-fashioned greed. And guess who's left to clean up the mess? That's right, the American people. Buckle up, folks, because it's going to be a long and painful ride back to economic stability, if we ever get there at all.